We're live, all good in the hood. Listen, it's going to be mental tonight. I'm not exaggerating. I'm really, really not. Okay. So far, I've roughly worked it out. It's taken me 13 hours reading articles, capturing videos, and it's extremely difficult to manage a presentation of this magnitude. So we're just going to get lots of information out there. Okay. So this is the UK with the 15-minute cities or 20-minute neighborhoods. They're intrinsically linked. So here's the bad news for you guys. Edinburgh, Ipswich, Belfast, Dublin, Newham in London, Dundee, Southend, Nottingham, Sheffield, Birmingham, Leeds, Bradford, Liverpool, Manchester, and honestly, the list goes on and on and on, like you would not believe. Like I said, it's taken me so long to compile the information for this live stream. Okay, if you are serious or you're very, very interested in this topic, may I say, please check out the description box, okay? With all of my usual donation stuff in there, scroll down and you won't believe it. I've actually filled the entire description box. I've never done this before. So, yes, 5,000 characters, filled it all up. And guess what? I'm just scratching the surface. Yeah, literally. It's basically a sugar lump size out of a whole iceberg. All right, that just gives you a rough idea of what is going on. Okay, so yes, the description box, like I said, there's 49 links in there to all of the sources and the information that I've been sifting through, and I just haven't got the time to just carry on. Okay, so the idea of this live stream is you guys watching on the replay, fill your boots. Okay, there's loads of information in the description box below. Okay, so what I would do before we go any further, once you've looked into this yourself, and especially if you watched all of this live stream to the end, my advice would be to look at your local council website and get the email address that you're going to need for an Freedom of Information request. Now, I've done several of these in the past, okay, and they've been pretty good. And at the moment, you can still use the Freedom of Information request ideology and it works. Okay, so what you want to do is when you contact your council about this topic is you want to say something like is this town or city participating in the 15 or 20-minute city stroke neighborhood trials, or is this city or neighborhood going to be one of those 15-minute cities, etc., by 2030? Okay, get as much information as you can and just send me an email. The email address is below this video. So before we crack on, just real quickly, hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Yes, it's been a mad week, I know. And has it gone fast this week or is it just me? It flew by for us, like it seriously did. So with that being said, when I checked out the analytics before I come on the live stream, it looks like there's been a total, and it's probably gone up because I've done this an hour ago, 1,296 new subscribers to this channel. So thanks ever so much for coming aboard and finding me. And I please urge you guys to share as much as you can on all of the networks. Okay, Facebook being one of them, because you probably don't know, but I'm not on Facebook. Also, if you don't know, because you're new probably, this is my full-time job. Okay, so I'm not getting no benefits or nothing else. This is literally it. Okay, so if you do want to donate, it really, really helps. All of the links you're going to need to know are below this video. The things that have been enabled so far is the super thanks, super chat, super stickers, PayPal, and coffee or Ko-fi. Okay, so like I say, lots of you guys really do help with PayPal and coffee or Ko-fi during the week, etc. with the replays. That really helps. So let's go straight into the comments and see how we're going. We've got 615 people in here already. That's pretty cool. We've only been on air for 4 minutes. So that is awesome. So what I usually do is I usually find out where everyone is. I find out how much you're paying for diesel. We have a quick look at the stock markets, etc. But because of the amount of information in this live stream, we're just going to wipe that clean. Okay. Yes, it's the first time I've done this. because, like I say, I am not joking. The amount of information in this is mind blowing. And talk about a rabbit hole. All right, I am not joking about rabbit holes. So what we're going to do now is there's lots of investment stuff that's been going on, and it's truly frightening. So what we're going to do now is like I say, we're going to go straight into it, and we are going to look at, I think, Oxfordshire. So let's watch this together. Okay, what I was going to do is wait for about 1,000 people to turn up. Some people are a bit late, etc., but like I say, most of the guys will probably watch us in a replay. So here we go. Watch this video. Okay.
Our vision for the future of transport in Oxfordshire is world class. A place where buses are fast, affordable and reliable, where people can walk and cycle in pleasant and safe environments, and where high polluting and unnecessary car journeys take a back seat, making zero-emission buses, taxis and delivery vans the norm, and essential car journeys free of congestion. The benefits are clear, but how will we achieve all this? Our Central Oxfordshire travel plan covers Oxford, Kidlington, Ensham, Botley, Cumnor, Kennington and Wheatley. It proposes 22 actions to help realise our goals. The plans, which we'll be asking for your views on, include a workplace parking levy for Oxford businesses with more than 10 staff spaces, helping to fund transport improvements. 6 new traffic filters in the city, which will make buses faster and cycling safer. And a zero-emission zone in Oxford's historic centre to reduce polluting vehicles. Our vision is faster, safer and more reliable travel choices for all. Let's get Oxford and surrounding villages moving. Let's create a greener and more inclusive Central Oxfordshire transport system where everyone can thrive. Have your say by the 3rd of October at Let's Talk Oxfordshire.
Whoa. Doesn't it look so beautiful and so nice and so amazingly relaxed? Just think about what you just saw there. Okay. Now they do paint a very rosy picture because we got a few videos to see as well. Okay. Based on this sort of thing, but around the world, it's bonkers. So think about it. Okay. How much work is there going to be needed to be done to create this false utopia, shall we say? You know what the weather's like in the UK? Is everyone happy to sort of not have a vehicle outside their house? Going on a bus, you know what the bus system's like and the transport, they're never on time, etc. It's going to be ram-packed. Not everyone's going to have a bike or want to use a bike. It's going to be pouring with wind and rain. All right, it's not going to be fun. Okay, and I'll tell you this, every single video that I've seen about these 15-minute cities, 20-minute neighborhoods, they're all showing beautiful, nice, sunny weather. Now, as most of you probably know, I live in Wales, right, in the mountains, and we probably get about 2 to 3 months max of fair weather. The rest of it is just rain and a lot of wind, right? So are you going to enjoy walking around these places? Okay, don't forget, you're going to be carrying your shopping and all of that sort of stuff. Wind and rain, there's going to be cameras everywhere, there's going to be crime, all that sort of stuff, right? And let me tell you this, based on what I've looked into, especially or particularly with Oxford, right? Now, there was a poll recently, and the study reveals that 93% of people who were asked about what their thoughts were about this new smart city, which they're going to be trialing in Oxford, okay, 93% of them wholeheartedly disagreed with the whole idea. Okay, and so much so, right? Now I've been watching other videos as well on YouTube about all this sort of thing, and there was one, I think it was on Sky News, and all of the comments were removed, and it goes into, you know, conspiracy theorists this and blah 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 blah, and yeah, it's putting a whole big slant on it. And based on 13 hours of me looking into this today and yesterday, the conclusion I've come to is The overwhelming majority of everyone who has seen this information, wherever they are around the world, has been wholeheartedly against the whole idea. So the good news is, I personally think that this is not going to happen. All right. There's hope. There really, really is. Okay. Because so many people are getting clued up and waking up to this madness of this whole agenda. And the whole everything comes down to one thing. And they call it climate change. Everything is geared towards climate change. That's responsible for everything. Okay. So much so, you've probably been watching some of the videos about the 15-minute cities on YouTube and stuff. Have you seen the little banner underneath where before, back in 2020 until now, anything about that sort of thing, you've got like a misinformation and fact checkers and all that. Well, guess what? They're doing a climate change one now. Yeah, I know. I thought it was pretty bonkers as well. So if I can just show what I found about this, it is absolutely bonkers. And here it is here. Right. So I'm trying to see what that looks like on there. And if I show this, it is exactly what is going on. Okay. So we are going to have a look at this. Now, this is what comes up. Okay. So you watch a YouTube video and anything where it's good or bad about that it mentions climate change, this video will probably have it underneath wow as well. Okay, you click on it and it takes you straight to here. Our lovely friends, the United Nations, and they are saying what they believe climate change is, which is absolute BS. Okay, since the 1800s, human activities has been the main driver for climate change. Absolute BS. Okay, they do say something about the solar cycle. Okay, and I believe the majority of what is happening with our climate has directly to do with the sun. Okay, whether we're here on this planet or not, this planet would be doing exactly the same as what it's doing now, with or without us. And they're using us as our fault to push this agenda forward. Okay, it's absolutely horrific. It really, really is. It's sinister. And the United Nations, they are not elected. Okay, and we can go into 50 hours series of videos just about what is going on with the United Nations and subsidiary companies involved within the United Nations. Okay, but we're not going to be doing that because, like I say, time is crazy. And I'm really sorry if I miss any donations as well, because like I say, there is so much to go through, but anyone who's donating, that's awesome. It really does mean a lot. So yes, Oxford. So we're going to go into a bit of Oxford because this is about the UK. All right. So they are going to have 6 zones in their entire city limits. Okay. And they say that you're going to have a maximum of 100 journeys per vehicle per year. Okay. So if you've got 3 or 4 cars in your household, it's going to be divvied up. You're going to have 25 days per vehicle in that household. All right. That's insane. There's 365 days in a year. Okay. And you're allowed 100 to go across different zones. And if you go over that, if you haven't got an exemption, which by the way is going to be pretty impossible to get for multiple reasons, you're going to get fined. And yes, we're going to be watching a short video now based on the response from Oxford County Council with the absolute bombardment. I think it was 5,700 emails wholeheartedly against this whole operation, which is what they're doing. Okay. So you will see in this video in a sec that they say, no, there's not going to be any like concrete barriers or electric gates or steel walls or nothing like that. Yeah, maybe. But guess what? They're going to be using technology to their advantage to police this. Okay. Everything comes down to climate and technology. The whole thing. That's how they're going to push what they want to do. And it's not in our interest. Now, they do say by 2050, everything's going to be carbon neutral. Well, if you ever stop to think what you breathe out carbon dioxide. So it's pretty much saying everyone's going to be gone by 2050. Yeah, crazy. And they're doing it bit by bit. All right, and maybe we'll see a lot more changes, especially in 2040, but that's a whole nother story. Okay, so Oxford, absolutely bonkers. And what we're also seeing is yeah, you're going to get fined. So the only way really to combat this is if everyone took their number plates off, because without that, how are they going to do it? Okay, it's going to be run by ANPR, which has been widely used within the UK for years now. Okay, now it did start off as just the police had it in their vehicles, right? Then it started being certain cameras dotted around on certain choke points around urban areas and little gateways to and from urban areas across rural areas, right? But not only that, they've now been implemented in petrol stations, right? So everyone needs fuel, so the chances are you're going to get your number plate pinged at petrol station with ANPR technology. All right. So, like I said, we are now going to go over to this response from the council. Right now, they tried to smoke screen it a bit about climate lockdowns. All right, but listen to what they've got to say.
Hello, everyone. Recently, we've seen a lot of misinformation about traffic filters circulating online. This misinformation is being spread by many disreputable sources, and it has been extremely disappointing to see it being picked up by the national media outlets as well. These conspiracy theories are causing real-world harm and need to stop. We have been receiving many calls and emails from worried residents in genuine fear that they might be locked in their own homes. This is categorically untrue, and we're talking to you today to explain the truth. To reassure residents and set the record straight, we want to be absolutely clear. We are not planning a climate lockdown or a lockdown of any kind.
The traffic filters will be installed as a trial on 6 roads in Oxford in 2024. They will not be physical barriers. They're not steel walls or electronic gates. They're simply traffic cameras that can read number plates. If a vehicle passes through, the camera will read the number plate and, if you do not have an exemption or a residence permit, you will receive a fine in the post. By restricting through traffic at certain times of day, they work in exactly the same way as the existing traffic cameras in the high street. There's been a lot of commentary that the filters will separate communities and stop people from visiting loved ones. This is not true. You will still be able to drive your car freely to every single part of the city. We are just asking you to try to avoid inner city roads, as we all know these roads are suffering from awful congestion, delayed bus journeys, and are unsafe for people cycling and walking.
We expect these traffic filters to reduce congestion and air pollution in our city, make bus journeys faster and more reliable, and make walking and cycling safer for everyone. We know not everyone will agree with our decisions, and there are concerns about the traffic filters and how they will operate. We've listened carefully to feedback from residents and partners and have made changes to the scheme based on this feedback.
The scheme will be introduced as a trial during which another consultation will take place. During this trial, we will listen to your views while also monitoring data on traffic levels and air pollution. A final decision will then be made on whether or not the filters should be made permanent.
We strongly encourage anyone who wants to find out more about the proposals, including maps and FAQs, to visit Oxfordshire County Council's dedicated website. If you're still in doubt, please write to us or talk to your local councillor.
Really? We've listened carefully to the feedback and we've made adjustments accordingly. Well, 5,700 emails with, I would probably say, a 99% negative response to that. And so much so that loads of videos and stuff have had all of the comments removed, etc. So there's no open debate, okay? And also, do you remember back in 2020 when YouTube had a thumbs up and a thumbs down? Well, guess what? You can't see the thumbs down figures anymore. This is all by design, okay? Now, there's been tons of screenshots that have been captured in 2020 and some part of 2021, where the amount of thumbs down was overwhelmingly more than the thumbs up, right? Overwhelmingly. And obviously it's perception. The public will see this and go, well, how come this video, which I thought would be correct, how come there's like a 90% to 10% ratio with thumbs down and thumbs up on it? Yeah, perception is a big thing. Okay, 1,232 people in the chat. Awesome. So yes, we're talking at the moment about Oxford, but we're going to go crazy pretty soon. All right, so before we go to that, let me just show you this about Oxford. All right, so we're going to go to the share screen real quickly, and we're going to look at this. Okay, now this is very good. Now guess what? Who remembers Right Said Fred? Yes. Oh, he's got a part of this as well. So there is someone that people know about this. All right. Now this, right, is a huge, massive leafleting campaign. All right. So like I said, there's so many people, you know, massively opposed to what's going on. Okay. Now, like I said, all of the links you're going to need, which I'm showing, and a lot more, are below this video. Okay, so feel free to browse at your leisure, come in and out of the video if you're watching on the replay. Well, it's absolutely nuts. There he is. Right Said Fred, and he still wears that little earring, look, bless him. So yeah, basically what they're doing is they're doing a huge leafleting campaign. And there is YouTube videos of this going on, okay? And I think also if you come on here, there might be links to the video as well. And the amount of leaflets which they have been distributing has been absolutely insane. It's pretty much every single household in Oxford. And that is a lot of people. It really, really is. And like it says, it is not a protest, okay? All they're going to be doing is gathering, having a little chat, and they're going to be literally delivering all of these leaflets all over Oxford, which is awesome. So there we are. Look, United Kingdom, etc. It's all going around to local teams. Now, this is how we win. Okay, let me just move that out of the way. How we win is we use old school methods. Okay, we don't use anything online. We use boots on the ground, and we rely on the printing press. The printing press is going to save us from all of this madness. Information that gets out to the people on paper is going to be how we get information, because as we probably know, there is a lot going on with censoring information. Okay, I would imagine at some point within this year, this video is going to be blocked, banned, deleted, or whatever it is. So there we go. This actually happened, and it was very successful. It has been really well thought out and organized, and they've done an excellent job. Okay, it's just giving people factual information, right? And if you wanted to see all this, you can share it and everything. So that was absolutely awesome. Okay, that worked really, really well. And not only that, there are a lot of people who live in and around Oxford, or indeed people around the country who really want to get involved and try to figure out exactly what is going on with their councils, because they're just pushing this. And I'm going to show you why a bit soon on in the video. Okay, and what was it? It was the 18th of February. Okay, so this month on the 18th in Oxford, lots and lots of people are going to gather, and they're just going to go around and make as many people aware of the truth behind these 15-minute cities, 20-minute neighborhoods. All right, and there is a lot. There is a lot going on, like you would not bloody believe. Okay, so let me just go through. Honestly, the notes and stuff is insane. Like I've had a few naysayers in the past saying, you know, the information we're given is BS, but let me tell you, feel free to check all the links out below. There's 49 of them, right? You're going to need a lot of time. It took me 13 hours, and I just scratched some of them. Okay, so what we're looking at is a rollout globally. Okay, it's not just Oxford. Like I said at the start of the video, all of them towns which I mentioned are it is going to be happening there. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to this one. Now, this is what really fired off this research from today. Right. This morning when I got up, I was bang on it with this, because when the penny was dropping and when all this information was coming through, everything is linked to these 15, 20-minute neighborhoods and cities. And it all started with Birmingham. All right. So we're going to see this now. And then based on what you see here in some of the information I'll show you, it led me on to most of the links below this video. And it absolutely ties in with everything going on around the UK. So sit back, get your popcorn.
Birmingham is changing. We need your views on how the city will grow over the next 20 years. We need to make some big decisions on where that growth will go and what kind of development will take place. As our population increases, we will need more housing, including affordable homes. Providing the right type, size and tenure of housing will be important, as well as creating safe, sustainable and inclusive neighbourhoods. We also need to provide more jobs and opportunities for development to enable a strong and diverse economy which benefits us all. Birmingham City Council has declared a climate emergency and is striving to become a net zero carbon city. We want to make it easier to walk, cycle and use public transport and ensure that air quality continues to improve and that Birmingham becomes a healthier place to live, work and visit. Our aim is to build a climate resilient city and achieve the highest standards of energy efficiency. We want to protect and enhance nature, wildlife and green spaces and safeguard our unique heritage. Your views will help us plan the very best future for Birmingham, our city. To find out more about the plan, the consultation events that are taking place, and to let us know your thoughts and ideas, please visit www.birmingham.gov.uk/Birmingham Plan.
I don't know who thought of that music, but it completely killed it. It seriously is ridiculous. So yeah, like I said, this is going on everywhere. And do you remember, lots of people back in the past would say, if you want to know the truth, follow the money. Well, guess what happened? I did. And what I've discovered is shocking, really shocking. Okay. So are you guys ready for this? So we started looking at Birmingham just then. Okay. So I thought, well, let's see who's involved. So I've just been doing some digging around, doing some research. Like I said, all of the links are underneath this in the description box. So let me just go and see. Wow, that's insane. 1,394 people in chat. Thank you very much for joining along. Wow, there it is. That guy, and that guy. Right. So we're going to go to, I'm trying to memorize the little icons when I do the presentation. Okay. So let me try and find it. Right. Here we go. Sharing the screen now. So we come up against this. Okay. The Prince's Responsible Business Network. Okay. This is all directly evolved from Birmingham Council, linked in with Birmingham University. And then we come up against a big long list of the guys involved in all this. So I picked out a few. Right now, this guy here, Paul Aldridge. Okay. Now I chose this guy to look into because out of about the 20 different names and pictures on this page, it says Group Sustainability Director. So we're looking at keywords, sustainability. So we've done some digging on this guy and who he's involved with. As you can see, the highlighted there, as an advocate for creating social and environmental value. Okay, environmental. keywords, sustainability. Okay, so we thought, okay then, what's this here, this group? So we had a look at this group, and we're going to go into that in a sec. And that literally opened up a massive, huge can of worms when I started looking into this. So you can look on the screen now, basically this guy's background, what he's been up to. And yes, all of them pretty much copy like for like with the direction of their careers. So we had a good look at that guy, Paul Aldridge, okay, Group Sustainability Director. So that led me on to that company, which I saw earlier. Where is it here? Look at this. Right. Sustainability. So this here, WJ. Okay. So on the face of it, it looks pretty harmless. They just mainly deal with road infrastructure. But look, the road to net zero. See how it links in? They do roadworks, and all of a sudden, what's roadworks got to do with all of this sort of stuff? Yes, and the rabbit hole went absolutely crazy. If you can read on the screen here, you can actually see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're going to go down. Look at this. Understanding your carbon footprint. Here we go. Look at this. We have a duty to our environment. Don't forget, they're trying to make us believe that it's human beings that are causing all of the problems with the climate. Okay, where if you look at the grand solar minimum and what the sun's doing, absolutely this planet's gone through exactly the same things in cycles, and absolutely proven. If you want to look into this in great depth, there's a very, very good live stream between two good friends of mine, from Jason Brashears, who has a YouTube channel called RKX, who I've mentioned in previous live streams, and he interviews Ben. Ben's a great guy. He runs a YouTube channel called Suspicious Observers, and you watched that live stream on RKX's channel a few days ago. So if you really haven't got a clue what's going on with the planet and the environment, that video is a definite must. So yes, like I say, we start looking into all of these things. So this is just a company that just does contracts for repairing the roads. So they've got all of these sort of things. Look at this, 72% hybrid electric company vehicles. Really? The whole thing stinks. It really, really is. Our training academy, 300 LGV drivers, fuel efficient driving. That's amazing. It seriously is. Like I say, it literally just went through the roof when I started looking into all of these names. Now, like I said, all of the links are below this video. I think this live stream will be about 6 hours long if I was to go through all of these links to show you on here, but you're more than welcome to just hit them up in the description box. Okay. So where did we get to now? Congratulations for 1,488 people in the chat. Thanks for coming on board and learning a lot about what is going on with these 15-minute cities. It's absolutely bonkers. It really, really is. So, right, that's all looking good. So, like I said about these companies, okay, which are involved with the councils, and they've got direct links to all of these other companies, okay. It's all about money and all about funding, but we're going to come to it very soon. But check this out.
At Wesleyan, not only are we all about you, but we're all about the world you live in too. As a mutual, it's in our DNA to care. And we're proud to be able to make long-term decisions that benefit our members and their communities, rather than responding to the short-term needs of shareholders. From a sustainable investing perspective, this means caring not only about how the money we invest on your behalf does, but what it does. And it can do a lot. It has the power to do good for you and for our world, which is why we invest in companies that actively combat climate change, improve medicine through innovation, and provide greater access to healthcare and education. Our team of investment specialists are committed to delivering competitive returns on your money, but not at any cost. This is why we have a clear set of sustainable investment principles, based on what our members have told us is important to them, and why we don't invest in companies involved in tobacco production or civilian firearms, for example. We also expect to see clear commitments to being carbon neutral and their plans for how to get there. We proudly manage more than £8 billion of our customers' and members' money in companies around the world. We act as responsible guardians of that money and pursue actions that develop and improve the sustainability of the companies we invest in, by encouraging them to do more and be better too. Together with our members, we are proud to be driving positive change. Invest with Wesleyan to make your money make a difference. Visit our website to find out more.
I know, insane, isn't it? The guy who I looked into on the Birmingham Council, he appeared on this YouTube video, and it was about an hour long. And unfortunately, I couldn't figure out how to download it because it's such a big file. But I wish I could, because I could have cut out just the first bit, because the guy in that video, I really looked into him, and he is linked to that company on that video that I just shown. And when I started looking into that company that I've just shown, it opened up everything. It opened up everything worldwide. Well, Matt Santini, I just see that. Thank you very much for that donation, sir. That's awesome. And some of you guys have been donating behind the scenes on PayPal. That's cool too. So yeah, I looked into this guy. And like I said, as soon as I looked into the asset management of this financial company, it went nuts. It went nuts, right? So much so that it, like I said, it led me on to about 4 hours solid of sticking all them links below this video. So let me see if I can find, yeah, there it is. Yes, it led me on to this company, right? So I'm going to go to a share screen now, and you won't believe what you're going to see here, all right? It's pretty bonkers. Right, sharing the screen now. We come up against this company here, Climate Action 100 Plus. Now, when I looked into this company and I pinged onto other companies, like I said, it was all about the money, okay? All of these companies here, all right, there's 19 pages full up with these companies. And I was absolutely shocked to see lots of UK companies. And when I looked into them, absolutely, they are all tied to 15-minute cities, all of them, all right? It shocked me, big style. Now, I don't know if I click onto here, you guys can see it as well. I hope it does. Let me just have a quick look on there. All right, let me see if I can just pop over to there. Oh, where is it? Honestly, the list just goes on and on and on. Now, we are all aware of AXA, okay? So when I started looking into these, right, the overwhelming majority of all of these companies are pension funds, okay? Pension funds. So they are getting desperate by how this is looking, from how they are getting funding to actually fulfill their dream of their cities. Now, I'm going to see if this is coming out all right. Yes. Awesome. So you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. BlackRock. Like I said, follow the money. And we all know a fair bit about BlackRock, okay? It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And like I said, you know, you can go through like British Telecom. There's so many of them. And in fact, I went onto another site linked to this one, all right? And the rabbit hole went absolutely bonkers. Like I say, all of this Climate Action 100 basically is doing everything they can for net zero, which is 2050. And part of that is the 15-minute cities. Now, like I said, all of these companies here are absolutely, look at this, CERN, the pension fund on CERN. That's bonkers. Look at that, the Church of England. The Church of England. And I'm going to read you out a list in a minute of some of the UK companies that I found. Not through this holding company. I found another company. And it just goes on and on and on and on like crazy. City of Chicago. It's global. It is bonkers. All right. So, and it's really weird because what I've ended up doing, look at this, Dundee City Council. So the people of Dundee paying their council tax, some of that money is coming out of that and going directly into this company, which is getting their money, and they're funding all of this zero carbon agenda. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to go through all of these because we'll be here forever and a day. All right, it really is absolutely bloody bonkers. Let me just see, it's nuts. And can you see this? Look, just this one company alone, right? But the companies, some of the companies I just showed you there, together, they equate to around $68 trillion in assets. 68 trillion. How long will it take you to earn that? It's crazy. And look at this. This one here is the kiddie. We're going to have a look at that in a minute. Now, anyone can do this. Like I say, the link is below the video for this one, as well as many others. So what I ended up doing, I was just going through all of these pages. I never had time to go through all of them, but let's just say I went through about half of them. And it was just taking ages. But the same thing was happening, okay? So look at this, Zurich Insurance Group, okay? We're all familiar with Zurich Insurance Group, am I right? So now, with that in mind, okay, if I can see it on here, we're looking for the logo, which is there. Here we are. Zurich. We're all familiar with Zurich, aren't we? The insurance company. Look at this. Let me tell you, all of the ones that I've seen so far, right, are linked to 20-minute neighborhoods. All of these companies are funding 20-minute neighborhoods. They are actively involved, okay? Now look at this, July 2021. Who knew? Maybe some did, maybe some didn't. But for me, finding out all this today is just mind-blowing, and I had to share it because I can't share all this information. I can't go through all of this information. I'm going to need like a massive team of researchers here. Like I say, all of the links are below this video that anyone can do this. Okay. So like I said, when we went back onto the other page, when I was going through those asset companies that were involved in this holding company, all I would do is I would copy the name, and in this particular one, it would be like Zurich. Okay. I'll paste it into Google and I'll put space 15-minute city, enter. Guess what? All of this come up. It is practically every single one that I've done. They all have something to do with 15-minute cities, all of them. But some of them are calling it 20-minute neighborhoods. Okay. Now they are very similar, but they will lead you to believe that they are different. But there are three tiers to this. There's the 15-minute city, the 20-minute neighborhood, and ultimately the smart city. Now, the smart city really is the cherry on the top. You end up in the smart city. Guess what? You ain't getting out of there. You are staying in there. So forget all your rights and freedoms to roam around anywhere you want on planet Earth. It's going to be gone. And they're going to try and get all this licked in 7 years. So this is urgent information. Like I say, all of this sort of information here on YouTube isn't going to be around for very long. Okay, so we scroll down, right? So look at the countries here. Melbourne, sorry, the cities. Melbourne, Paris. Oh, look, United Kingdom. Now check this out. While the 20-minute neighbourhood concept is less well established in the UK, this is beginning to change. In June 2021, Edinburgh County Council discussed a high-level strategy for 20-minute neighbourhoods with 19 areas in and around the city to be prioritised. And in March, Ipswich unveiled plans to become the UK's first 15-minute town, with proposals to make the town's key features, including its station, Central Park and Square, more accessible within a short walk. And look, they go to climate change, sustainability. Can you see the key themes which are running all the way through all of these things? Emerging risk, global risk. It's all nuts. And look at this, ESG. Remember we talked about ESG a while back on some of the live streams? Yes, absolutely. It's all linked to central bank digital currency. Every single thing that you see going on is all linked. Nothing is by coincidence. Okay. Look, Zurich for brokers. So people are investing in companies like this. It is crazy. It's nuts. And it's going on everywhere. Like I said, all I've done was I went onto that one website and I started looking into these companies, and most of them are pension funds. Okay. Now, I had a little chat briefly with a friend of mine online, and basically I am not offering any financial advice whatsoever. Okay, it's not my thing. It's not my qualification. I've got no right to do so, and I will never offer any financial advice. Okay, but what I would say to anyone who is considering looking into their pensions and who they are paying in their pensions is to get really solid, sound financial advice. Okay, an independent financial advisor. That is what I would recommend you do if you have any concerns about what is going on regarding the information that I have just shared and will be sharing as well. Okay, so I just want to set that straight because I'm not endorsing anything. All I'm doing is sharing information. And like I said, if you look underneath this video in the description box, there is 49 links to so much information. And no, I'm not joking. It's lots. Okay, we're going to try and go through a few of them on here. But like I said, if I was to do a presentation going through all of them links in some sort of detail, right, we're talking each link's going to be about 25 minutes. So 25 minutes times 49 is a son of a bitch long time. Okay, it really, really is. And I'm really sorry that I'm not looking at any of the chat at the moment, because like I said, I knew it's going to be a busy one tonight. 13, 14 hours of research. It really is bloody nuts. So I'm just looking to see what we can go on to next. Yeah, this one's a good one. Let's go to here. So we're going to go to the share screen again, and we're going to go through this one here. This is quite interesting. Look at this. Meet the 2021 to 2022 Prize Cities finalists. Now, we are getting this information directly from World Resources Institute. This company is involved with the WEF and the United Nations, I hasten to add. So feel free to research into this further. And look, they are absolutely embedded with net zero carbon and 15-minute cities everywhere. Urban Water Resilience Initiative, Clean Air Catalysts, mobility, electric school buses. I mean, really? Do you seriously think this is going to work? I mean, there's massive draw on the grid with all of these electric EV vehicles as it is. It's bonkers. Electric mobility. Now, there's a thing. Don't forget, you're not going to be having your own vehicle in 2030. In Wales, it's going to be 2028. Do you remember in a live stream that I'd done some time ago where I touched on the subject? In Wales in 2028, there will be next to no private vehicle ownership. That is the goal for Wales, okay? So if you own a vehicle, 2028, guess what? If you're not car sharing, if it's not got X amount of like clean fumes and whatnot coming from it, kiss goodbye to that car or whatever it is. Work van, pickup truck, 4x4, you will not be allowed to drive it. And if you are driving anywhere, guess what? There's going to be cameras, there's going to be police, and you're going to get fined. And I suspect heavily fined as well. Now look at some of these people on here. These are the guys who you need to look into, okay? This one here, Michael, the Director, Urban Efficiency and Climate, the WRI. We're going to go on to the WRI in a sec. Let me tell you, that is one sinister organization, okay? Like I say, you go down rabbit holes like this, we're literally just scratching the top. And this thing's huge. I mean huge, okay? So like I said, there's links to all of this information. Feel free to do it in your own time. If you do have time, if you're bored, you're going to find out loads like I started to, okay? But all of these people here, look, featured experts. You remember the term experts? And you got Trust of Science, and yeah, it's absolutely. This is just one. Look at that. They want to you to donate to them too. Let's say if you haven't got enough money as it is. Part of cities, 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 cities. These are all linked to 15-minute neighborhoods, okay? 5 finalists from 260 submissions across 155 cities in 65 countries. Wow. Initiatives. Okay, let's have a look. Doesn't it all look great? Like I say, everything you see, imagery regarding all of this, it's always a nice sunny day. Yes, absolutely bonkers. So it goes on to a bit of the issue there and what happened. Now look, Colombia. Imagine that in Bogota. Wow, one of the most violent cities on planet Earth. The Philippines. In India. Look at this, Paris. Now, if any of you guys are in France and you visited Paris recently, it'd be good to have a heads up of what is going on in Paris, because that is really going to be a huge, intense environment considering the migration and the social issues going on in Paris. Okay, that is going to be very, very hot. Pakistan as well. Bonkers, absolutely bonkers. Look at that. Thriving together in turbulent times. Ain't that the truth? Turbulent times. Man, this stuff hasn't even started yet. You know, it's just bonkers. I mean, yeah, you can go really crazy into it. Everything's going up, blah, blah, blah. But like I said, there's so many people waking up to this now. So many people can see through it. And I'll tell you this much, there is teams and teams and teams of really intellectual, highly motivated individuals who are researching into all of this stuff. Now, like I say, if you really want to find out what is going on, follow the money. Follow the money. Absolutely right. That is what we need to do. So I'm not going to be looking into populations, etc. We've looked into that. Right. Okay. 1,526 people in the chat. That's super awesome. I hope you're enjoying the content so far. Like I say, my aim for this live stream is to get as many people as possible looking into the links that I provided in the description box underneath this video. Okay. It's absolutely bonkers. So we're going to look into this now. Like I say, they always show a positive, false slant on what they're going to achieve now. Okay, so you see what I mean about this, right? Where's all the rain? Where's all the queues? Where's all the graffiti? Where's all the crime? Man, I've lived in a city for 30 odd years, 40 years, and I know, right, what it's like to live in a city for that amount of time. Lots of people who have never lived in a city for a long time, forgive me, but you got no clue, all right, about what is going on and what is going to go on. It's going to be nuts. So check out this positive slant on.
What if you could live in one of the world's great metropoles, but never had to commute? There's a way you could meet all your basic needs within a short walker cycle from home. It's called the 15-minute city.
Nous voulons que dans la ville, à l'endroit où nous habitons, on ait à moins se déplacer de très loin, que ça soit pour aller travailler, pour aller faire ses courses, pour se soigner, pour accéder à la culture ou pour se prélasser.
The concept is simple. Plan urban environments with human beings at the center instead of cars. Instead of separate neighborhoods for living, working, and socializing, the 15-minute city imagines places where all three functions coexist. Car parking spots would be turned over to cycle lanes, and existing infrastructure would be transformed into multifunctional spaces. Schools could be used as community centres at night. Disused buildings could be turned into co-working spaces.
On veut utiliser un bâtiment beaucoup plus pour qu'il accueille d'autres activités pour lesquelles il a été au départ conçu. On appelle ça la chronotopie. Un lieu, plusieurs usages. Et chaque usage, de nouveau possible.
If this all sounds like some kind of lofty utopia, there are actually places trying to take up the idea, like Melbourne and Paris. In fact, it was the centerpiece of Parisian Mayor Anne Hidalgo's successful re-election campaign last year.
Écologique, sociale, humaniste pour l'avenir de Paris.
Not everyone is enthralled to the idea, though. Critics warn that 15-minute cities could exacerbate existing urban disparities and lead to a kind of tribalism. For others, hyperlocal 15-minute cities could be the answer to solving problems of urban sprawl, while also encouraging community regeneration and green mobility.
Doesn't it look beautiful and amazing and so nice? Most of you guys watching now are probably in an urban environment, okay? Now you tell me what it's actually like when you go downtown, down to the shops, look at some of the decay in the side streets behind the shops and all that sort of thing. Look at all of the businesses, look at all of the shops that have closed, okay? It's all across the UK, okay? There's no areas that have been not affected by this, okay? For all sorts of reasons, okay? Now, I firmly believe that this is one controlled collapse. And I think the goal is they want everyone in all of the countries herded into smart cities over time, okay? They want everyone living in them. So they have all of the outside space, the elites, or whatever you want to call them. That's one term you can use. We're not going to go into details, right? But can you imagine what sort of lifestyle they'll have, knowing that probably 99% of the population are going to be in these cities or neighborhoods, okay? Obviously, they're going to be doing like the towns and smaller areas, okay? They're going to be temporary from what I can see. And at some point, once the development's in place for the cities to be really developed, like I said at the start of the video, all of the cities, and it goes on to a lot more, okay? So you look at like big population areas. So what we're going to do quickly now is we're going to look into this, all right? And it's going to be this one here, all right? So again, you can just look into this yourself. Worldometer, okay? Apparently, this is live. Now, obviously, figures are not to be trusted, but it just gives you like a ballpark idea. I mean, this thing here could be, I would say, at the moment, I would probably say it's about 80 million, maybe more. 80 to 90 million in the UK. That's what I think based on the amount of migration into this country is over the last 20, 30 years. Okay, it's nuts, absolutely nuts. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down, right, and we're going to look at the leaderboard, as it were. So all I started to do before, it was just going to take too long. I was just getting each one. I was getting London. I was gradually going down, okay? And I was just copy that, put it into your search bar, put a space and put 15-minute city. And I'll tell you what, all of them, right down to, I think Manchester, I'll give up at Manchester. All of them had plans, or actually starting to already, these 15-minute, 20-minute neighborhoods, cities, okay? It just goes on and on and on and on. And one of the reasons why I think, you know, these figures on here are BS. Portsmouth, right? I used to live in Portsmouth for 30 odd years. And I remember looking into this back in 2012. And in 2012, back then, Portsmouth had 250,000 people living there on a 15 square mile island. Okay, 15 square miles, 250,000 people. So that figure there, it's a lot more than that, a hell of a lot more than that. And some of you guys actually live in these places. Okay, Southampton, Milton Keynes, Northampton, Swindon. Now Swindon's another one. Swindon here, look at this. I know a few people who live in Swindon, some right in the middle, some around the outskirts. But let me tell you this. From what they are seeing is there is massive infrastructure going on all over Swindon. Okay, so we're looking at lots of fiber cables being laid, lots of cameras going up, etc., lots of road routes being changed and altered and diverted. It's bonkers. And that's because I know a few people, like I say, personally, who live there. All right, I've been getting so many emails. Incidentally, if you want to email me about what your findings are regarding the topic of tonight's live stream, the email address is also below this video. Okay, so send me an email, and I'm getting around about 100 emails a day, and it's impossible to read all of them, as most of them have links to loads of videos which I just can't watch. The odd one now and again, if I'm lucky enough to scroll across it and it's like 3 or 4 minutes long, that's fine. But all of these hour-long videos, you know, if you can put like a start point, watch from here, and the time stamp on it, if I'm lucky, I can get to it. But let me tell you, the volume of emails coming in is insane. I've got so many Intel updates to do. It's bonkers. I was planning to do a few this week, but this 15-minute city research project has just gone, knocked them out of the park. So 1,587 people in the chat. If any of you guys have donated, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. That's both on PayPal and in the live stream. And also, if you guys are watching on the replay, you know, PayPal and Coffee works absolutely fine. And it seriously does help because, like I said, you know, this is my job. I'm not even on benefits anymore. Right? That's all gone. It's just this. So it really does help. I mean, I need to find time to put into this, to make videos, to make it work, because we need to eat and everything else. And the website needs to be done. Anyway, this stuff here is bonkers. Now, you want to check this out as well. This is quite interesting.
Before the recent lockdowns around the world, we led hectic lives with long commutes and not enough time to spend with our families and friends. Traffic polluted our air and smog blanketed our skylines.
What if it could be different? What if we could create a new normal where we reclaim our time, our health and well-being, and our communities?
This is the idea behind the 15-minute city, a growing movement to make our lives in cities more convenient, less stressful, and more sustainable. A 15-minute city is one where everything we need is close to home, where communities are safe and inclusive, where the air is clean.
A 15-minute city is one where it's easy to get goods and services. Fresh groceries, healthcare, and other amenities are all just a short trip away. A 15-minute city is one where everyone has a place.
A 15-minute city has affordable, accessible, and adaptable housing for households of all sizes and ages.
A 15-minute city means that you can work close to home or work remotely more often.
And we all play a role in our neighborhood.
What if we don't go back to life as it was? What if we already have the power to change how we live? Together, we can reimagine and create the future we want. One that is cleaner, safer, healthier, and more inclusive, and gives us back valuable time to enjoy the little things.
C40 cities. Look into them, guys, okay? Look at the funding behind them as well. And yes, whilst that was going on, I had a quick glance at the chat, and yeah, you're right. Do you know what? I was going to go probably 2 hours straight without stopping on this, right? But you guys are right. I saw it's been full on, but yes, sir. Why not? So thanks for everyone who's been shouting it through the rooftops. It's drink o'clock. Like I said, the start of the video, there's like 1,200 subscribers join. What we usually do on the live streams every Friday is around 9 o'clock, as much as I can get on time, we have a drink together, okay? And it's important that we have a drink together, all right? It really, really is. And it doesn't have to be alcohol, okay? So it doesn't matter.
We ain't got no booze. We ain't got no booze.
It doesn't matter, all right? You got to have a drink. And yeah, some people like to have fun as well, because this is a very serious topic.
What is this, Wonka? Some kind of fun house? Why, having fun?
Of course. You got to have some fun, right? You've got to have a break. Now, look, I'm looking at the chat, 1,547 people. Unfortunately, some guys like to drop off around now, but that's fine. But don't forget, this is only going to go on for about a minute, and then we're going to get straight back into it. So if you need to pop out and have a pee or whatever, stick the kettle on, go for it, okay? Now, we've got a good old-fashioned British pint pot. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. On there. Can you see the raven? Yeah, there you go. Proper old school. Here I am. That's it. Don't want to get out of focus. Now, welcome aboard, everybody. Time for a beer. Now, it's strange because all of my preps are kept in a cold, dark, dry room. So when I got this beer out about an hour or two ago, it was freezing. So it's just starting to come up to room temperature. Some of you guys who are into your ales and things like that, okay, it does need to be a bit of room temperature. All right. So there we go. Cheers, everybody. I hope you're all well and enjoy a little break from the madness, if only for a few minutes. All right. I've got to change hands because I'm right-handed. Cheers, everybody. Oh, that's better. Whew. Right, let's just check out the chat. What we got here? Oh, look at that. 1,495 people. Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. No problem at all. Awesome. So what we're going to get onto now is, now this is important, right? If I remember rightly, what I showed you earlier about this company, this is key for me, that this is where it all started. We're going to look into it, right? Now, you want to check this out. Okay, so we're back onto here again, right? Like I said, this is key, or one of the very big key players in, what is it? Net zero carbon 2050 agendas with United Nations, etc., 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 and indeed smart cities, right? Climate Action 100 plus. Now, if you go onto here and you put who's involved and you go to investors like I did, this is what you're going to see. So you can scroll down like we saw earlier. We can look at the companies, etc. Right, but if you go right down You've got 19 pages of these, and trust me, it's packed full of them. If you go right down to the bottom, see these here. Now, these are the important ones, all right? Now, you're not going to believe the stuff that I found out. It's just freaking nuts. So what have we got here? Why did they write that sideways? I don't know. Asia Investor Group on Climate Change. CERES, or CERS, Investor Group on Climate Change. The Institutional Investors Group on Climate Change, and PRI, Principles for Recognizable Investment. Okay, so these here, right. It wasn't until I started looking into these, especially this one. Let's go to this one. Okay, this is a mind blower, right? Now, what I'm going to share with you now, it'll blow your nuts. All right, it will blow your nuts. So let me just have a quick look. Look, 60 trillion euros in assets, and that is just one of the holding companies, okay, which I've just come from. All right, that was 68 trillion, I believe. So when I started looking into this company here, the IIGCC, look, they just absolutely, when you go view all members, right, this scary stuff. Like I say, I'm not going to go into all of them because we are going to be forever in a day. All right, there we are, the wonderful United Kingdom. Look, here we are, investor members. All right, so all of these companies who are investing into this company and in turn invest in the other company. Hold on, I'm not sure if you saw that. If I, no, okay, I'm gonna have to go and change. Let me stop sharing that. Sorry, guys. Here we are. Sorry about that. Right, here we go. The IIGCC company, right? Look at this, investor members. So all of these companies here, right, are actively funding what we're seeing with the 15-minute cities, the 20-minute neighborhoods, and the net zero agenda of 2050, the net carbon. Okay, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's absolutely bonkers. Like I say, anyone can do this because the links are underneath this video. And like I say, I haven't got all of the time to do this. And look at this, associate members as well. All right. Now, this is what shocked me. Look at this, right? This here. Church Investors Group joint members. So look at all of these churches. So if any of you Christians out there or churchgoers, you know, when you put your hand in your pocket and you put it in a little envelope or you put it in the slot that's in the church, well, some of that money, I can't tell you how much, comes from these guys and goes to this guy. Okay, look at it. Absolutely insane. Church in Wales. Okay, so Welsh churches. Ireland, Wessex, Scottish, Westminster, Canterbury, Christian Aid. Wow, now that is a huge alleged charity organization. So they are funding these guys. Okay. I know the rabbit hole went. So let me just go over some keynotes from what we've just seen. All right. So the key investors. So what we looked into underneath that main website there, we've got the Investor Group on Climate Change, the IGCC. Okay. So that you saw, well, they're saying 3.6 trillion, but when you look into it, it looks like around $7 trillion US dollars. Now, the Principles for Responsible Investment, okay, or PRI. Now, they are one of the United Nations organizations, okay, and they have links with the World Economic Forum too, all right. Lots of fishy stuff all linked to this. Like I say, follow the money. And we look at investment at this level, multi-national corporations, international corporations, conglomerates are all included in these investor groups. So that is saying they also use ESG. All right, you remember we talked about ESG, which, if I remember, is environmental social governance, I think they termed it. So that's all linked. And that again jumps on to being linked to central bank digital currency, CBDC, and our lovely Prime Minister. He reckons that in 2025, so in a couple of years now, 24 months, not long, okay, that is going to be in place here in the UK. All right. It's already been started. Okay, I've been getting information from guys emailing me, working within the banking industry, etc. And cryptos, it's already started. I mean, there's no way they could just literally press a button on 2025 and it'd be done. They're doing it already in little tiny test cases all over the UK, but not just the UK. We're talking globally. All right, now this is actually happening on a global scale. All right, so that was insane when I checked out that one. But the one that I just showed you, right, the Institutional Investors Group on Climate Change, the IIGCC, they have 375 members from 23 different countries all around the world, and they have 60 trillion euros in assets going towards this climate and this 15-minute, eventually evolving to smart cities. Now, I'm going to show you something about a smart city plan, which will blow your mind in a minute. Okay, you want to hold tight for that one. It absolutely shocked me. So we're looking at Cirrus, the company that I mentioned earlier. Now their headquarters is in Boston in the United States. Now that is basically an investor network from more than 220 people that totals more than $60 trillion in assets. All these trillions are adding up. It's a fucking load of money. Okay. Now look at this one here. This is very interesting. The Asia Investor Group on Climate Change, the AIGCC. Combined investors portfolio of that is 39 trillion US dollars. Okay. And then you move on to Climate Action 100 Plus, which we just looked on. 700 investors from 166 companies all around the world, totaling $68 trillion in assets. Now, like I said, we looked into the IIGCC, which we just touched on before. Now, these are just some of the UK companies, okay? I just didn't have time to go through all of them. Now, like I showed briefly on the screen share, there's a lot, okay? But these are just some of the companies that I know that are British or UK, okay? So all of these companies here are funding that big company, which I just mentioned, all right? But not only that, the majority of these companies are pension companies, pension funds, pension trusts, pension holdings, etc. So like I said, I am not a financial advisor. So if you do have a pension, and most of us do, try and find out exactly where your pension money is funding other companies, usually on stock markets, etc. Okay, but like I said, I would advise you, if you really wanted to look into that, is to get an independent financial advisor. I am not one of those, okay, and I'm not going to tell you to do anything. But if you do have an inkling you need to look into this, please consult an independent financial advisor and look at your portfolio for your pension and make decisions of what you actually want to do. Okay, so we're going to go on and look. Aegon UK, Aeon, Avia, Avon Pensions, AXA, BAE Systems, Bailey and Gifford and Company, Barclays Bank, UK Retirement Fund. So a lot of our elders who watch this channel, you know, you guys have got pensions, nest eggs, etc., seriously get an independent financial advisor and look at what your money is propping up. Okay, seriously. Look at this, the BBC Pension Trust. Wow. Bedfordshire Pension Fund, BlackRock. Now that is some company, all right? And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about BlackRock, man, they got fingers in pies over the planet, pretty much. One of the biggest companies with that sort of things going on. Now, another one is Border to Coast Pensions, BP Pension Trustees Limited, Brunel Pension Partnership, BT Pension Scheme, Bupa Finance, Cambridge Associates, Camco Clean Energy. That's one to look into. Church Commissioners of England. Now, I'm sorry to say this, guys, but Cornwall Pension Fund, down in Cornwall. Derbyshire Pension Fund, East Sussex Pension Fund. Listen to this. The Environment Agency Pension Fund. The Environment Agency. It just goes on. Now, when you come across a company like this, Goldman Sachs Asset Management International, right? So yeah, Goldman Sachs Asset Management International, they're involved. Guardian Media Group, any of you guys who like reading the Guardian newspaper, okay. The Hampshire Pension Fund, HSBC, Public Trust Fund, Kent County Council Pension Fund, Legal and General, Lloyds Banking Group Pensions Trustees Limited, London Pension Fund Authority, Lothian Pension Fund, M&G Investments, National Grid UK Pension Schemes. I know, I dug this up, man. It's nuts. NatWest Pension Fund. And check this out. Like I said, it goes round circle. Oxfordshire County Council Pension Fund. Royal Insurance Group. Pension or private sector. I can't remember what that was now. Royal London. Santander. Scottish Widows. Remember them? South Yorkshire Pensions Authority, St John's College, Cambridge, Strathclyde Pension Fund, Tayside Pension Fund, Tesco, PS. I can't remember what PS now. I'm all bloody writing, but yeah, Tesco Pension Scheme. That's it, pension scheme. The First UK Bus Pension Scheme, the Highland Council Pension Fund, the People's Pension Fund, University Cambridge. Again, that's another 15-minute city, isn't it? University of Glasgow, another 15-minute city. West Midlands Pension Fund, West Yorkshire Pension Fund, Wiltshire Pension Fund, Winston Churchill Memorial Trust. And of course, we went on to the churches like we touched on earlier. Now, the churches, they are foundations, trusts, councils, funds, and synods, or synods, however you want to say that word. So yeah, like I said, stuff goes deep. And if any of you guys are involved in any of that, it might not be a bad idea to actually double check. It really, really is. Let me just check on here. Wow, hold on a sec. Sharon, thank you for that donation. Hillary, thank you for that donation. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm going to butcher your name. Mayoli, thank you for that donation. That's awesome. Oh, wow. Simon as well. Thank you for that donation. That's awesome. Like I said, you know, this is my job now, and any donations really, really help, especially during the week when things are really tight, and during the month with PayPal on the replay, that absolutely really, really helps. So, like I said, all of this stuff is gone crazy. Now, do you remember me saying earlier, if I can find it here, here we are, we're ready to queue. Now, it starts off with 15-minute neighborhoods, okay? Then it goes to 15-minute cities. Then the next step up is smart cities. Now, make sure you've got a drink in you right now when you see this, because if you haven't seen it, right, it'll blow your mind. It blew my mind. Now, this project is funded and it is going to happen. Check this out.
For too long, humanity has existed within dysfunctional and polluted cities that ignore nature. Now, a revolution in civilization is taking place. Imagine a traditional city and consolidating its footprint, designing to protect and enhance nature. The line will be home to 9 million residents and will be built with a footprint of just 34 square kilometers. And we are designing it to provide a healthier, more sustainable quality of life. The line's communities are organized in 3 dimensions. Residents have access to all their daily needs within 5-minute walk neighborhoods. And the line's infrastructure makes it possible to travel end to end in 20 minutes with no need for
scary, isn't it? Yeah, that's someone's vision, and you know, looks like it's coming to pass, you know, because like I said, all of these things are absolutely in the process of, and yeah, but like I said, yeah, with all of this stuff that's been presented, and you know, there is a lot of money backing all of this, and the only way that this is going to happen is with money. Like I say, I'm not going to tell anyone to do anything, but just imagine if all of that, those companies which I mentioned earlier, just imagine if they started losing money. What would happen? No money, no projects. Okay, like if it did get implemented, like Oxford. Just imagine, you know, like I said, 90% of, you know, strongly opposed what is the trial, all right, which is going to be starting, I think it's next year. Just imagine if all of those people just took their number plates off and went about their business. The whole thing fails, okay? Now, what's going to happen is the police are going to go around, right, and they're going to go and fine everyone without a number plate on their vehicle, okay? Like I said in a live stream, and I think an Intel update video recently, the magistrates courts, they'll think that they're, what was it, 300,000-400,000 cases behind. Can you imagine that on top? Insane. We, the people, have more power than we realize. Yes, you know, getting presented with all of this stuff, and you think, oh God, what are we going to do about it? Protesting don't work, blah, 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 blah. Just do not comply. Don't take part in it. Do whatever you can not to take part in it. Okay. Now, if enough people, you know, done something, there's no way that this is going to go ahead. There's no way. Okay. This it's just one of them things. And like I say, I don't think any of this is going to happen. right? Because way too many people know about what's going on. And I've done my best to share this information with as many people as possible so people can research and share. And like I say, it's going to come down to a point where the UK is going to be leading the world in the use of the printing press, okay? Because something probably will happen to the internet this year, okay? Whether it's going to be really crazy censorship or it goes offline or whatever it is, no one really knows with cyber security threats, etc. Okay, but let me tell you this: what happened in Oxford when they printed out all of those leaflets and they got all them volunteers to distribute them to every single household in that borough, in that region, sorry. That's how we do it. That's how it works. Right? You go old school, okay? Don't use anything online. You go old school. You send letters, you use your feet, you use a photocopier, you use a printer. Incidentally, people who own or work in printing companies, if they want to make a difference, they are going to be the saviors. They are going to be the lorry drivers during the issue in 2020. They are going to be the guys and girls who are literally going to drag us all out of this mess by getting information by word of mouth, on foot, driving around, delivering stuff, okay? Because sharing stuff like I'm sharing now, this time next year, it's not going to be happening. And let me tell you this much, I'm very fortunate to find the information that I did, because the censorship on search engines now is insane. It really, really is insane, okay? And it's only going to get worse. So yeah, lots of you guys, techie guys who really know how to sort of backdate, to look through websites and stuff when a post is no longer available, there are ways to go back in time and to see what that post done, okay? So, you know, you can print stuff on paper, right? You can find websites of information that have been deleted. You can roll back the clock, as it were, find the information, and you can literally print it out en masse and share it, okay? That's the only way we got any hope of preventing this absolute nightmare unfolding, okay? Now, we've got to think of the future, you know, our kids, our grandkids, okay? So if we sit back and do nothing at all, you know, we just sit back and just suck it up, not good. I mean, you saw that video just then with that great big line across Saudi Arabia or wherever it was. Now, can you imagine living inside that place? No way, no way. The smells, the noise, cabin fever. You know, people like to get out and get some fresh air in all sorts of places. Okay, whether it's by the seaside, whether it's in the woods, whether it's across the fields, in a park, whatever it is. There's not going to be much going on in that horrific line. Okay, and when they say, you know, you might be allowed outside to explore local areas, well, if your social credit score is really good, you might be allowed to. So yeah, this future can happen, but it's down to us to make it not happen. And the only way we do that is by just mass non-compliance. I will not comply. Simple as that. No violence involved, just no. That's what people need to do, is just find it in the heart to say, no, enough's enough. You can see where this is going. You can see how all of this is linked. And it is not a bloody conspiracy theory, all right? An old joke, if you look at one of Neil McCoy's Ward's videos, he done a video a few weeks ago or something about 15-minute cities or something. And I'm the second most popular comment in there. And I said on there, what is the difference between fact and conspiracy theory? I said about 6 months. And it's true. You look at what's happened though since 2020. You know, I would say the so-called, and I hate that term, conspiracy theorists, they've all been proved right on everything. Okay, so you know, do what you feel, but like I say, feel free to help yourself to all of those links underneath the video. And I wish I could put more, but I maxed it out. It only allowed me to have 5,000 characters in that description box, and it's filled right up exactly 5,000. All right, so we're going to call it a wrap, guys. I'd love to stay and chat longer. I'd like to thank everyone who's donated. It seriously helps like you would not freaking believe, okay? All of the moderators. Now, the moderators on there, they're awesome, okay? Because without them guys and girls, right, this chat's going to be a war zone and no one needs it, okay? We're here to help, share ideas, and to encourage, that beer's coming back, and inspire people, okay? All it is about information. Like I say, the people who watch this video on the replay, all right, they're going to be seeing the chat. They're seeing what you guys are typing in, all right? So everyone gets to learn and educate themselves that little bit more, rather than if you picked up the Daily Sun or the Star or whatever bloody newspapers are. It's all BS. It's all owned by a handful of people up top, all the media outlets, okay? But like I say, this is all about community now, because you have to use a paradox in what they're doing, okay? They're trying to paint a glorious picture of community. Now, we've got our own community, okay? We don't have to physically live together, but this is an awesome community. And our community is going to sort this mess right out, okay? We're going to spread the word, we're going to help people, and we're going to plant seeds in people's minds, okay? I know what it's like trying to wake sheep people up, all right? Cognitive dissonance, yes, I've massively looked into psychology, and yes, it's a real thing, okay? But you plant seeds. And what my advice would be, if you're looking at planting seeds in, you know, asleep people, shall we say, think of something that's topical on that day or that week that everyone's talking about, and try to think what is involved with that, which they're going to understand, okay? Put that seed in their head, leave them alone. They'll either wake up or they don't, okay? You could literally grab them on the throat, throw them up against a brick wall and shout at them. And if they're adamant, they're not going to change their mind. So it's pointless going down any road trying to drum it into their head. Plant the seed, and over time, hopefully they'll wake up. But let me tell you this much, from what I've seen, the amount of people who know what's going on now is growing by the second, right? Not by the day, by the second. Every second, someone's going, bloody hell, wow, something's not right here. This is all connected. We're screwed. We need to do something about this. That's happening every second, everywhere, from what I've seen, okay? It's amazing, and we're going to win this thing, right? Don't you start getting worried that Klaus and all that. And incidentally, the WF is falling apart as well. The amount of arguments and disagreements that have been going on through some of their meetings lately, man, I'll tell you what. And like I said, follow the money. Look into everyone who's involved in this. And you can start with local councils. Local councils, look who's on the websites of all of your local councils. Do a bit of digging around of who they are, what their titles are. Look for keywords like sustainability, climate, clean, congestion, 15-minute cities. Look into all those sort of things. If you find them within your local councils, do a bit of research, okay? Look at their bio, look where they've worked before, and look where their companies are, and look like I done. You know, that's scratching the surface. If everyone done their little scratching the surface bit, we're going to find out a hell of a lot more, and we're going to figure out how to stop this. But it looks to me that it's all reliant on funding, and if they've got no funding, they can't advance. So it's up to us to think what to do. There's always a way, like I keep saying. And obviously, thanks to every single one who's watched this video live, and indeed you awesome guys who have taken time out of your very busy schedule, and I know you're busy, right, watching this on the replay, and I really hope it helps or inspires and encourages you to do some research into just this one topic, okay? It's mental. So I'm going to enjoy this beer now and kick back, because I need to have a break as well. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Stay funky.